Hello, you beautiful people. Welcome to the MLFX update number 11 for May 2021. Titled, Eating Humble Pie. Eating Humble Pie. Why are we eating humble pie? Well, we'll get into that in a second, but firstly and foremost, if you're a returning viewer, thank you very much. Please consider hitting that like button to share this with as many people as possible. If this is your first time, what we are all about here at MLFX is creating the best trading platform for Forex traders in the world. What do I mean by that? We want to create a set of tools that are going to help you improve your trading significantly, become profitable in a shorter amount of time if you're unprofitable, you're an aspiring trader, to improve your bottom line if you're already profitable, and help you take your trading to the next level, just by providing you with what I would consider institutional level trading tools, right? The kind of tools that are previously held only by those with significant power in the game, thinking hedge funds, right? Big management companies and big algorithmic trading firms that hold on to this for dear life, right? This information. But our objective at MLFX is to democratize these tools and to give you these tools so that you can play on a level field, right? So that's what we're all about. If that kind of thing interests you, if the journey of us trying to achieve this aspirational goal interests you, then please consider subscribing to our channel. Follow along on this journey that we're on. And hey, if we make it, you will make it with us, right? We're in this as a collaborative journey. We're in this together to help you succeed, because if you succeed, then we also succeed. So, rambling intro over, let's jump into this month's article, as I said, titled Eating Humble Pie. So, really the reason that it's titled Eating Humble Pie is because I had a bit of a reflection moment, right? At the end of the month, sort of thinking back as to why certain things happened, why we made certain decisions. And the main decision that I'm talking about is hiring a couple of people to come on board to help us out and hopefully get this app released as quickly as possible. Because in my mind, I was thinking the old cliche saying of many hands, make light work, or in essence, the more people you have, the quicker things are going to get done, right? And that's a common misconception, because that is not always the case, right? If you have to bring people into a situation where they're faced with a complex problem and you need to give them a certain degree of guidance, instruction, and teaching and training to get them up to speed, then effectively it's actually going to slow you down in the short term. And because our goal at the moment was quite short term, it's like, how can we get this done in 1 month instead of 3 months? Actually, it's made things more difficult. It's slowed things down more than it actually helped speeding them up. So there's a couple of points that I went over here as things that I learnt on reflection of the decisions that were made, and after sitting down and being completely honest with myself, chowing down on that humble pie. Some of the challenges that we encountered, or the thoughts that ran through my mind, were hiring new people and not being able to work with them in person is very difficult for a fledgling company, right? A small company that's still trying to figure things out for themselves. It's going to be difficult to bring on remote workers that are outside your immediate group of friends. Yes, if you already know people and you already associate with people that know what you're doing, they understand the business, you've been talking to them, and you bring those people on, that might be a great decision. But I'm talking a fresh set of eyes that's never laid eyes on your company, and you're basically looking for a freelancer, right? So be very cautious when you're very small, attracting those type of people into your business, because it might end up being more effort than it's actually worth. Another one, if the main deciding factor for a new employee is money, you probably shouldn't hire them. I know that's going to be it's going to be controversial rather to some people, that thought. But at the early stages, I feel like you need to hire for character more than anything. You need to hire for people who are aligned with your vision, and people who believe in what you're doing. If you don't get that type of person, 2 years, maybe 1 year, maybe 3, they're going to leave your company, and it's going to hurt you because they're one of the earliest hires that know the most about the company. The type of people you need to stick around for a good 5-10 years to help build out the foundation of your company. So be very careful hiring people when it's purely financial from their standpoint. That ties into the culture, that being super important and needing to be prioritized. I'm not going to go too much into detail there. When hiring someone remotely, you should really hire for expertise at the early stages. That's my mindset now, is instead of hiring someone where I'm thinking they're going to be long-term with the business, I'm now specifically looking at, okay, we have this problem that with the resources we currently have, we cannot solve, or it's going to take us way too long to do so. I hire for that. I'm now going to hire for those things, and it's going to be short-term contracts. It's going to be exactly what needs to be done. This is what you're doing. Fixed price if I can, so I have control over the budget, and just focus on getting that one task done, then move on to the next bottleneck. If there's another issue that we cannot internally resolve, or it's going to take too much time again, we look outwards. So that's something that's a bit of a switch in mindset, where instead of looking for someone to come into the company to do work that's non-essential right now and to help sort of grow out the business, I'm now, what's our problem? Who do we need to hire to fix it? That sort of mentality. The next point there is to make sure that work is absolutely essential, right? Can you get rid of it? Can you ignore it for a couple of months? Is it absolutely essential that you do that now? And that ties into above, which is going to make you very lean as a company, right? You're not going to be paying people to do stuff that you don't absolutely need to be done right now. So I think those two tie together very well. And finally, be careful about hiring too fast. It's hard, I know, when you're new to this thing, and it's exciting to think of hiring extra people, to think of growing the company, right? Everyone wants to just sprint forward as quickly as they can, but the true successful companies all know early on, right? Most of them, outside of massively funded companies that had just no other option but to hire 50 people within their first year. But for organically grown companies, the hiring process is generally very slow. And that's because you're looking for specific types of people to join your organization, to build up your culture, and the type of person who's going to be around for very long. You know, if they're ticking all these boxes, it's not going to be easy to find them, and it's going to be, you're only going to find them through rigorous, interviewing, finding people, mainly headhunting, to be completely honest, at those early stages. So yeah, just that's the underlying thought and final takeaway, I guess, from this reflection period, is that just be careful about hiring too fast. Make sure you absolutely need them, right? You should be comfortable suffering in an overburdened state with far too much work on your plate, your table, whatever you want to call it. You should be comfortable sitting in that period for longer than most people, right? And you should not rush into hiring just because you're feeling a little bit uncomfortable with what you've got on your plate. Spend a little bit of extra time to find someone who's right for that role. Book club. I'm going to start the book club. I've been doing it for a couple of months here, but now I've officially put a title out there. This is the MLFX book club, and this month the E-Myth and E-Myth Revisited are I would consider an essential read for anyone who's entrepreneurial. There's some really great takeaways from these books. And let me be clear, they're pretty much the same book. One's just more updated, basically. But my biggest personal takeaway is that you need to actually focus on working on the business, right? Instead of working in the business, because a lot of people, they get so caught up in doing the day-to-day workings of the business that they're not able to actually take a step back and figure out how to develop the business into the next stage, right? How to get to that next level with their business. And as the CEO, as a founder, as someone who's early in the company, you should be focusing predominantly, if it's your role, on building out that business rather than doing all the smaller things within, the day-to-day activities of the business. So that's probably my biggest takeaway from it. That in conjunction with creating systems so that your results are replicable, right? You can replicate these results. Because without that, then you're kind of just relying on luck. You don't really know exactly what got you to where you are. And if the person is to leave who was responsible for that area of the business, you can't replicate what they were doing. You have to start from scratch almost, and someone has to go through the whole learning process again of figuring out what works, why it works. Whereas if you find someone who's an expert in an area within your business, you get them to systematically write down the processes that got them to where they are, and what they do when it comes to maybe publishing an article, doing social media advertising, the step-by-step guide, then anyone with any level of experience can come in and replicate the results that person, that expert, was getting. I think that's a very important thing that maybe not enough businesses do. So now that we've got that out of the way, we've got the introductory sequence of me basically rambling about business and that type of thing. Let's jump into the update for this month, and we're going to get underway with the lightning round as per usual. So in May, we added TradingView, which is our charting platform. So I can quickly jump over to it here, and we can have a look at it if I can. But basically, TradingView is, as I said, it's a charting platform. It's enabling us to display all of our price data on beautiful charts, and we're going to be able to paint on top of these charts indicators and we'll be able to plot our trades. So all of our agents with their trades will be plotted on these charts. You will be able to click next to an agent, follow or subscribe, or a button similar to that, and you will effectively then be following that particular strategy, and every time a signal is created, it will be plotted as a trade on the charts for you to see in real time, which I think is really cool. We've got it up and running, we've got it added. We need to do a couple of things, including plotting trades, but beyond that, there should not be much to do. So that's really good to get that added. We also started using render for staging. That can be thought of similar to Netlify. If you're a web developer, you'll know what Netlify is. But essentially, we just attached it to our dev branch, our development branch on GitHub, meaning every time we update our development branch, the changes are instantly visible on our render staging website. So that enables people like me, developmentally challenged, I'm not sure if that's even a word, but people who are challenged in the development field to just log on, see what's been done, review that it works, and then get back to the developers quickly. So it just makes that development loop and cycle much tighter. Speaking of me not being a developer, I committed my first code ever. I'm just going to gloss over that, but basically the reason I'm doing it is to understand as much of the business as I possibly can so that I can make better decisions. So just a clarification here of the MVP. This is what we're working towards. We want to have this launched the 1st of next month. So the 1st of July, we want to have this launched. And essentially, the main components are the top 2 points there: human strategies and hybrid strategies. Let me just pause on this for a second. Human strategies are essentially trading strategies that we've found on the internet, people have requested, and they're publicly available strategies that we input into our system. We backtest those strategies, rank them against each other to see how they performed as a raw strategy without any customization. So these are effectively as-is strategies. Then what we do is we feed those to our agents, who then create a hybridization of those strategies, right? They use machine learning to try and improve that strategy. And then we provide those as tradable strategies to you, our end users. So due to legal reasons, we might not be able to provide the human strategies as tradable strategies because there might be some there might be some conflicts there, intellectual property type things, but there's not going to be any reason to stop us from basically using the blueprint, because if it's publicly available on the web, then it effectively we can use that to model our systems, right? But when it comes to actually charging people money for our systems, we probably can't charge people for the use of these strategies, is what I'm getting at. So that's where the hybrid strategies come in. And then beyond that, we have Hermes strategies, which is going to be strategies purely created by our machine learning algorithm. There is no human strategies as input. It just takes all of the different indicators, all of the different data, and then it configures it in the best possible way to make the most profitable strategy that it can through iterative evolutionary algorithms. So that's essentially what we're going to be doing. There will be it'll be very basic to begin with, but we want those first 2 points available, and then we're going to roll out a couple of different features such as strategy watch lists, which allows users to follow strategies that they like, alerts, which is alerting users when those strategies find trade setups within the market that they want you to look at, and then you would decide when or whether to take those trades. Then trade plotting, which is what I talked about before, just plotting trades on charts. And finally, as I said, Hermes strategies, which is where we're just letting the algorithm do its thing. The next point, this month I did a massive overhaul of the website, spent a lot of time on design. I think I'm actually getting okay at design. Gave the website a dark mode. It has a full dark mode across the website. It uses a cookie as well to remember your preference. So if you prefer scrolling and viewing pages in dark mode, it will remember that for the next time you visit, which I think is pretty cool. So yeah, put a lot of work into this, a lot of hard work, and what I'll do this month is create an article actually detailing the design changes that have happened over the last, say, 14 months or so, as we've gone from having pretty much nothing, a single page website, to a fully fledged website that I believe I can honestly say right now I'm proud of, which is, as I said here, I've ticked something off my bucket list, which is to create a website that I'm proud of. This is something I've been aspiring to for years, and I feel like I've finally actually achieved it with this current version of the website. So just as a comparison, this is the blog in its first appearance on our website, which was 13 months ago. And you can see it's a very basic design that I actually stole off someone else. I looked at someone else's website and created a design, and you can see there's also things that I hadn't even fixed there. So this was like the alpha, right? Or not even the alpha, this is the pre-beta. This is a very early instance. And then we have, we got this disclaimer area down the bottom. It all looks quite like, noob, very beginner. And then this is the most recent couple of days ago version of the website, which is, version of the blog, should I say, which is much nicer. This is in the dark mode as well. It has a light mode, as you can see, top right there, we've got a light dark mode. Just for example, we can turn this page into a dark mode as well, just like that. So I've gone through a lot of, I guess, a lot of banging my head against the wall, learning and figuring things out. But I think the design, I'm finally happy with it across the website. So there's not much to do apart from fixing some bugs and things, and just continuously iterating it a little bit at a time, but the majority of the work is done. So I now switch from more of a make it look pretty mindset to a make it convert and make it sell mindset, which is what I'm going to be doing for the next couple of months as we are in this early stage of launching. So the next thing I want to cover quickly here is that Amory published, or had published, another paper that he wrote. It's titled Using Fuzzy Inference Systems for the Creation of Forex Market Predictive Models. A bit of a mouthful, I know. It was published by the IEEE, which is, I think, the International Engineers, or it's like Electrical and Engineers something. But it's just a group of really smart people that publish or an organization responsible for publishing a lot of really smart people's papers. And it's open source as well, which is really cool. So there's a link to the paper here anyway. I published a little article on the website with the first, I want to say, page of the 15-page paper. So you can read that first page if it captures your attention. Then you can click through on the link to view the rest of that paper, as it is open source. Right, what are we working on at the moment? What needs to be done in the next 15 days? Because it is the 15th of June as I record this video. 15 days, 16 maybe, till the 1st of next month. So we need human strategies. Armory needs to program these 5 strategies that we have, which is what we're starting with. I need to create a strategies landing page. Spoiler alert, I've already done that. Auth 0, which I realize is Auth O in there. And Stripe user flow needs to be completed. Spoiler alert, that's done as well. Connect AG Grid to Hermes data. So we need to connect AG Grid, which is our data display, to our internal data and make it look pretty. Armory's already made it look pretty. He's already added it. And today, he reckons he'll have it connected to the data. So win-win there. We then want to add that to the trading page as well. So there's a final step there. But I can consider that pretty much done. Then add the user settings to the app. So that's the final thing we want to do. Christian's on that at the moment. It's going to be very basic. We're not even going to allow people to change their information, just view it. And then if they want to change any of their personal information, they can contact us and we'll do it for the first 50 or so people. And this comes from an article that I read fairly recently from the co-founder it is, of Y Combinator. I forget his name off the top of my head, but he wrote a really cool article titled "Do Things That Don't Scale." And he's specifically gearing this towards early stage startups where you need to just focus on getting things done, not worry about automating things at the early stages. Do things that don't scale, like talking to every customer, having a call with every new customer to talk about their goals, their aspirations, as you, the founder or co-founder, making these calls, right? One instance is what I just said, is manually updating people's information on request. That's not scalable to 1,000 customers, maybe not even 500 or 200 customers. But for the first 50, we can easily do it. And if it helps us get launched quicker because we're not waiting on having an automated system up and running to launch, which might take another week, it might take another month. Really, it's just extra unnecessary time at this stage. So that's another cool sort of tidbit of information that I think you should take to heart. Is just at the early stage you can get away with doing things that don't scale, and you quite often these are the types of things that really build those strong connections and strong affiliation with your customers and your business. Because at these early stages you are going to be getting early adopters, the type of people who are very emotional, the type of people who are really bought into the vision of the company. So you want to be doing your best to hold on to those people, because not only does your company have a culture, but your community also has a culture, and those early people are what defines that culture. So that's us for this month. 2021 is going by in a blur. We're already 6 months down. It is absolutely nuts. Really annoyed, but also excited at the same time. Annoyed because I thought we would have already launched a proper product. Excited because it feels like it's really, really close and it's going to be much better than I could have dreamed of 6+ months ago. So that's us done for this month. I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, as I said at the beginning, please do subscribe or like if you're already subscribed. And share this with anyone who you think might be interested in this particular type of product, type of business. We're going to expand in the future into lots of different exciting areas. Right now, we're just focused on Forex. Right now, we're just focused on these strategies and getting them out to the public But the future holds really interesting things. Think quantopian, things similar to that.